You're listening to Dispatch Radio, sponsored by theglobaldispatch.com.
Well, welcome back to Dispatch Radio. I am so pleased and honored to have my next two guests on who have a very, very special story to tell and have special knowledge of the brain-eating amoeba, Naegleria fowleri. Joining me on the phone now is Jeremy Lewis. He's the father of Kyle Lewis and the co-founder of the Kyle Grayson Lewis Amoeba Awareness Foundation. And Heidi LaMeyer, she's the mother of Haley LaMeyer, and she's the education and advocacy coordinator for the amoeba awareness group Swim Above Water. Jeremy, Heidi, thanks so much for joining us today.
You bet. Thanks for having us on.
Is Heidi there? I guess not.
We can hear her just having a hard time here. We'll see if we can try to lift that volume up a little bit, see if we can get that. So go ahead. Okay,
well, let's start out with some sort of an introduction for our radio audience. Let's start with you, Jeremy. Can you let our radio audience know, who may not be familiar with Kyle's story, your son, and the founding of Kyle Cares?
Sure. I just want to first say thanks for having us on. It's great that you guys are willing to help spread the awareness, and this is exactly what we all need to get the word out.
You bet.
We went on a last family camping trip here in Texas the week before school started, and it was a great trip. It was probably, to be honest with you, one of the best that we had ever had. We went to 2 different bodies of fresh water within a week. We came home. Kyle started school he started 2nd grade on that Monday. And on Wednesday, we had a baseball scrimmage, and he played one of the best games I've ever seen him play. Thursday morning, he said he had a headache. Then came the high spiky fever, the nauseating feeling, vomiting, kind of dizziness. And then we took him to the hospital on Thursday night, and that's when it went downhill from there. Kyle lost brain activity about 5:30 on Sunday morning, and we lost him at 11:11. That was right near Labor Day is when it happened, and we knew that there were going to be several thousands of people in the Texas area that would be going to fresh bodies of water. And we made the decision then, literally 3 days after Kyle died, to start a foundation to raise awareness, to make people aware of what we didn't know about. And to be honest, at that time, we didn't know a whole lot about it other than just to tell them what it was.
Sure. Well, that's sad story for your family, obviously, but it's amazing what kind of stuff can grow out of a personal tragedy like that. Do we have Heidi on, or excuse me, yeah, Heidi. Is Heidi on the phone yet?
She's there, but I got to open up this program to make it work, so
okay.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, let me continue with Jeremy then. So Jeremy, I'd like to get your thoughts on a couple of things concerning Kaylee Hardig, the young girl out of Arkansas. She's gone home, and personally, in my lifetime, I never thought I'd see a survivor from this infection. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Kaylee is truly a miracle and a blessing from God.
Yes,
this is what we in this arena needed. We needed a win, and we got it. Kaylee is a fighter. She was in the hospital, I think, for the better part of between 22 and 30 days, which is amazing. She had a lot of prayers coming from a lot of folks here in Texas and honestly throughout the world.
Yes, sir.
There are going to be some difficulties for her as she continues on her path, but the bottom line is that she survived, and she's gonna be able to live a fulfilling life.
And there's also something. Do I have Heidi on yet? Okay, not quite yet. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is recently on the Kyle Cares Facebook page, it was posted that the drug miltefosine was being heralded by the media as a cure-all, but clearly it's not. Can you explain that a little bit further?
Yeah. The media has, as well as anybody else, the media has ways that they need to spin a story for shock and awe, or the shock value, if you will. It is a good drug. It does kill the amoeba, but it's not killing the amoeba as quickly as we need it to. I mean, the amoeba within 24 hours can cause a significant amount of brain damage. I mean, the drug is what the drug is. It did its job and it killed the amoeba. Unfortunately, this amoeba acts so fast and makes such a huge path of destruction that unfortunately a drug isn't going to be the miracle drug for a long time. I don't like the fact that they call it the miracle drug because with Kaylee there is a significant amount of brain damage that hopefully the doctors have said that's going to be able to reconnect and they're going to be able to get her back to a normal lifestyle.
Sure.
But on the other side of that, though, to be honest with you, there have been two other children in the U.S. that have gotten the same drug within the same time frame as Kaylee did, and the end result was the same. They still passed. Right,
and I think that's a real problem with the media because they're really giving a lot of hope to people.
Right.
That's not necessarily there, and there's a lot of speculation too that did Kaylee have a less virulent strain?
Try your guess now.
Okay. Do we have Heidi there now? I can't hear her, Bill.
Yeah, there's something. Let me see what's going on here. I don't know. We've got a new phone system. So
okay. Do I still have Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties with getting Heidi on for some reason.
Just to follow up on your last question.
Sure.
The media does put a spin on it, and one thing that you'll always see from the media is the word rare. So let's throw a little scenario out there. You and your wife, you have two small children, and your wife is at home reading the newspaper over the weekend or during the week, and she reads a story of a child that gets this infection, and it brings her attention to this. There's something that she's never heard before, and then she hands it to her husband, and her husband reads it, and they get down to the rare part. Well, what would you do if you saw that word rare? You immediately begin to start thinking, well, it's not going to happen to us because they say it's rare. So what the media does is they provide a false sense of security, and to be honest, it's not doing anyone justice. That false sense of security still allows them to make the decision that, hey, you know what, we can go to the lake. It's not going to happen to us. It's too rare.
Yeah.
And so, we went to the CDC 5-6 months ago, and we said we need to change that word rare. According to the NIH, the National Institute of Health, do you know how many deaths it takes to take the rare label off of something?
I have no idea.
200,000.
Oh, wow.
So
it's not going to happen here.
What's that?
It's not going to happen with this particular organism.
Well, that we know of.
Right.
In my honest belief, I believe that there are more undocumented cases that this amoeba has taken that they never found it. Much like, when we get Heidi on the phone, Heidi's daughter, Haley, she's a great, she once we met Heidi and we went through the whole progression of what happened, and we were on the phone with her and her husband, and it's the exact same thing. I mean, the timelines fit. Everything that happened to their daughter happened to Kyle, but they never found it with her. We actually have 4 to 5 kids on our website that's the case.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I mean, but that's an astounding number to be considered not rare.
$200,000. So what that means is that the government or the NIH, the National Institute of Health, is okay with losing 200, or they're okay losing any amount of children by not doing anything. And it's wrong. I mean, these are kids. These are kids mostly under the age of 15 or 16 years old.
Okay. Do we have Heidi yet? No, we're still having trouble with that. All right, Jeremy, I got two more things for you. On the phone last week, you were telling me about a story about a donation to the CDC. Can you share that with our audience, please?
Absolutely. Yeah. But, we hold 4 major events every year. We hold 2 baseball tournaments and 2 golf tournaments. And then I usually travel out throughout the U.S. probably 6 to 7 times a year speaking, teaching, and educating. We went about 6-7 months ago. We went to the CDC and we made a $10,000 donation, and we asked if that donation could be specifically used for the research and any work that's being done on Naegleria fowleri and the infection of PAM. And we got that. They said, yes, absolutely, we'll keep it in the infectious disease department and we'll use it. What we found out is that the drug that got to Kaylee had to go through so many steps of progression to where they could actually get it to the hospital. All of the red ribbon that they had to go around in order to get it to her. Well, we found out that in the case in Florida with Zachary, they were able to cut all of that down to about a third of what it was with Kaylee due to our donation. They took a lot of that money and they shipped it to her or to him directly. So, and that's just, that's more to come. We usually bring in between. Are you still there?
Yes, sir. I am here.
Okay. We still on an annual basis, we probably net anywhere from about $30,000 to $50,000 a year because of our events. We've got a couple of other things that are coming up pretty quick too. Like right now, I'm actually about to tee off for our 4th annual golf tournament, Memorial Golf Tournament. Mm-hmm. Last spring at our baseball tournament, we had 184 teams sign up.
That's
in our second year, that is the second largest tournament in the state of Texas, which is amazing. We reach so many people. We're incredibly blessed with what we do. God put this on our doorstep, and we're going to drive it home.
All right. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to try to get wrapped up with this. I'm sorry because I'm trying to get Heidi on. I'm going to have to do her separately from you.
Okay.
We're having technical difficulties.
Yep. One of the other things that we should talk about real quick too is what just happened in Louisiana. I don't know if you saw that report.
Yeah, I was going to discuss that with one of you, but go ahead.
Yeah. They just came on and said that the CDC tested the waters from the water treatment facility there in the parish, and they actually found it. And this is what's scary. Is exactly what we've been fearful of the entire time, is that this is making its way into the water treatment facilities. And, they may or may not know that it's there, and if they don't, then, it is what it is, and we need to get things in place to get that water tested on a regular basis to kill this amoeba, if it's even possible on that level.
Yeah, I found that interesting because I think it was a couple years ago that 2 people in Louisiana died from using neti pots with tap water.
2011, there was an older lady and a younger gentleman.
Sure.
And that younger gentleman was actually in the exact same parish that this 4-year-old kid was.
Right.
So, and one thing on the CDC's website, they actually have a new list up there of what to do with fresh tap water in your home. And I would definitely recommend going to see that. You can also see it at our website, which is just kylecares.com. It's definitely worth a read for parents to be able to protect their kids, not only in fresh water out in the outdoors, but also at the same time in their house.
Absolutely. Okay, Jeremy, let me give you about 30 seconds to go ahead and plug your organization, websites, Facebook page. Go.
Here at kylecares.com, our only mission it's very simple. We want to try to save lives, and how we do that is we raise money, and more importantly, we're out in front of people and a lot of people. And so what we always tell everybody is that, this is 99.8% fatal, but 100% preventable. Had we known about it and had a 35-cent nose plug on my son, there's a very good possibility that he would still be here with us today. So the bottom line at kylecares.com, and you can link to our Facebook page there off of our website. It's very simple. Reach as many people as we can and spread the awareness and make sure that people are educated and have the information that we didn't have.
Outstanding. Well, Jeremy Lewis, thank you very much for being with us and sharing your story and your wealth of knowledge. I appreciate you coming on, and good luck with the tournament today.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you guys so much for putting your foot in the door and opening it up for us and giving us the capability to be on a platform as large as yours. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Totally. Thank you. Okay, do we have Heidi LaMeyer on?
Yep.
Heidi?
Good morning.
I'm so sorry for the technical problems.
No problem.
They just put in a new phone system, and things are not quite up to snuff. Heidi LaMeyer is the mother of...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Heidi?
It's LaMeyer.
LaMeyer. And she is the mother of Haley and the education and advocacy coordinator for Swim Above Water. And like what I did with Jeremy, I want to just go ahead and let you tell our radio audience about Haley's story and how Swim Above Water came to be.
Yeah. So my daughter Haley was 11 the summer of 2008, and we're in Minnesota. So we're quite a ways away from Jeremy and from Kyle Cares. But in 2008, actually, so several years before little Kyle, our daughter just became ill on a Wednesday, and she progressively got sick and died that same Saturday. And we knew at the time that it was a form of meningitis. We were fairly certain we would find out what it was. We didn't know if it was a mosquito or what had happened. However, our answer never really came. We went 2 years of not knowing what infection or what bug had caused Haley's meningitis, encephalitis, and her death. And then in 2010, there was a child in Minnesota that also passed away, the exact same circumstances. In fact, ironically, as a sidebar, talking to Annie Bonneman was her name, talking to her mother, Haley, and Annie actually died in the same hospital room at the same hospital, but it was Annie died 2 years later. I digress. But after Annie died, the health department in Minnesota put out a press release and confirming that Annie had died from Naegleria. And I am in the medical industry as my job, and so I had gotten that press release, and it just rang so similar to me that I went ahead and called the Department of Health. Minnesota has a program called Unexplained Deaths, and that's where Haley's case had been sitting for 2 years. So I called them right away, and they were expecting my call and had said, this is within 99.5% certain that this is what happened to Haley, but we'd never had a case here. Haley, the medical examiner did not require an autopsy in her case, and so we will never have the 100% confirmation in the lab that Haley died from Naegleria, but they are willing to say that within 99.5% sure that that's what it was. And so Haley goes down. I heard Jeremy a little bit. I was in and out, calling back. So I heard part of his interview, and I think he alluded to the fact that there's several cases or several kids like Haley that, we're never going to have that stamp from the CDC that says, yes, this is what it was. That's However, we work with the CDC regularly, and they recognize Haley's case and other cases as Naegleria.
Absolutely. Can you go ahead and talk a little bit about Swim Above Water?
Yeah, Swim Above Water actually is in its first year, and we're really proud of it. We are really, our focus is to try to raise awareness and really bring this issue to the front in the northern region. I mean, Minnesota is way further north than any of these other cases. However, we have a lot of fresh water up here, and so our friends, Jack Areola Ehrenberg, died last year, last summer, and we've joined with that family to bring this organization present. And so we are just doing some of the same similar things that Kyle Cares are, really trying to have this awareness in the northern part of the United States, and running events, trying to raise money, definitely going to give money to research and development of a cure for Naegleria, and to understand it better. There's been a lot that's happened this summer that needs a lot of research, and that requires dollars, and so that's probably our main goal right now.
Okay, wonderful. And I guess the big news this past week is the case from Louisiana. I mean, it was reported that the child contracted the amoeba playing on a slip and slide.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
When I first heard this, I was like, really? So what are your thoughts on that?
It's scary.
Yeah.
Our first thoughts as parents are that it's really scary, and it really alters our message. We're struggling right now. We have a great name for our organization, which is Swim Above Water. However, the sands keep shifting in what our message is. first it's the lakes and the rivers and the ponds, and then it's the neti pots, and now it's the slip and slide in the yard. And so we're pretty dedicated to expanding our message and talking about that. But it's you wonder, because I know they find it in the home. They find it in the water heater. They find it in the plumbing. So that makes sense as to why, it's on the slip and slide. But then our minds go to other things like, okay, well, how about if it's just the slip and slide sitting in the yard for a day or two in the sand and sediment? Is that a risk, even if your water supply is good? So it brings more questions than answers, and we're worried. And I was on a call with Jeremy and Julie from Kyle Cares just this week with the CDC, and they're worried.
Sure.
They are taking a lot of steps to look at what other countries, specifically Australia, did in the 1970s when the water system was infected, and so they're worried about it too, and don't exactly, really, at this point, know. I mean, they have some good recommendations about tap water, about water supply systems, but they don't fully understand the whole process either,
Yeah.
So
I would
it's changing all the time.
I would really love to talk to Dr. Cope about this in the future. I'm sure she's quite interested in this.
Yeah, she is.
Heidi, so next weekend I saw that Swim Above Water will be having an event, Awareness Rocks. You want to go ahead and
we are.
Plug that a little bit?
Yeah, we're super excited about that. That's up here in Minnesota, and it's a benefit for Swim Above Water. It's our first real major event, and we're probably expecting about 600 people to come to the event. It's at a local Irish pub in St. Paul, Minnesota, called O'Gara's, and you may or may not have heard of our entertainment is G.B. Layton, who is a huge musician band in Minnesota, and we're just going to be bringing people together, raising some awareness, and then also hopefully raising some dollars to do some things that our foundation desperately needs to do, including getting some money into the hands of the research team at the CDC.
Yeah, that's some great stuff. I mean, and that's such a hot topic down here in Florida too. I mean, it's just such a blessing to have you guys on the radio with me to talk about it.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. I can't tell you how grateful we are to be on with you. So.
Okay, and we are getting short on time, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a chance to go ahead and plug your organization, how people can find it, websites. If someone wants to donate, go ahead, Heidi.
Yeah, so swimabovewater.org is our website, and virtually the links to our Facebook, Twitter, are all on that site. If you click the blog, the B or the blog button on our website, you'll go to a blog that I've been working on writing over the past couple of months, and I'm literally recounting Haley's story from the beginning and through her death process, and then also what it's been like, what it was like those 2 years to not understand and not know, and then to ultimately find out, and where, what's gotten us to this point. And so if anyone's interested in the story, step by step of how that all went, what it looked like to have her in the hospital bed, they can certainly click on the blog. Also, our Awareness Rocks event is on there. We have a donate page. You can donate any sum of money, or Awareness Rocks is still collecting. We're collecting donations, title sponsors for our event next week. That's all on the website as well. And see our Facebook page. We work really closely and really well with Kyle Cares. Talk with Julie and Jeremy on a regular basis, and sending consistent messages and what we need to do across from Texas to Minnesota. And so you'll see some things shared between the two groups as well.
Yes. Okay, well, it was truly an honor and a pleasure to speak to both of you. And parents across the country, thank you for the work you are doing. Thanks, Heidi.
You're so welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Well, fantastic,
Bye-bye.
Bob. I do apologize about all of the technical difficulties, but what a great job. And what a great tribute to these families and to their faith, that they can take such a tragedy and turn it around to such a positive means and raise awareness and try to get information out there like that.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. It was such an honor for me.
Well, we're going to start.